Might as well say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? There you go.
Very nice, Brian. Very nice, man. I don't think anybody's done the King.
No?
I don't think so, man.
I sing it every day to my daughter to help her go to bed. I sing it like 5 times a day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And it does? It totally helps her?
Yep, absolutely helps her fall asleep. And if she doesn't get it, she cries for it till it happens. You know what I mean?
That's nice. That's sweet, man. Well, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I know you've been listening for a little while. We've been chatting for a long while, and it's finally getting you on the show. Brian DesChamps, right?
Correct, yeah.
DesChamps, that's it. What is your background?
Oh, geez. Okay. So on my mom's side, I got pure German and pure Polish kind of deal. And on my dad's side is a bunch of other European. I guess his ancestors are from New Brunswick, but they came from Europe. So I might have like Scottish, Irish,
Nice.
Stuff like that. Very European.
Nice.
You could say.
DC Improvements. We're going to talk a lot about construction. Everybody can reach out to him. You can see him on the Instagram at DC_improvements. And your phone number is 519-404-0960.
Yep.
Correct. I got to do a quick shout out to the tee that I'm wearing, which is my older brother. He coaches a girls basketball league called Jewel. They're on Instagram. I'm trying to remember if it's like Jewel X Ontario, at Jewel X Ontario. So he coaches the girls. Way back in my film days, I did a short film about the boys that he was coaching. And soon after that film I made, he stopped coaching boys because they wouldn't listen. And he started focusing on coaching girls because girls listen. And so he's had great success with coaching the girls, and he's been enjoying it. And so he developed his league, and now I'm wearing his tee and just giving him a shout out there.
That's awesome.
So we're going to have an interesting show. We're going to talk about construction, loads of kind of construction, but I do want to start off with the text that you sent me recently that I shared with a bunch of people.
Okay.
Basically reaffirming that politicians are all a-holes and they don't do shit for the construction industry. So the text that you sent me that I'm talking about is that our premier, who was recently reelected, made a deal with 6 big land developers before his election or reelection for some greenbelt areas in Ontario to develop. And then recently, Bill C-23 has been approved, so now you can build on those pieces of property that were not able to build on them. Mm-hmm. Talk about Nancy Pelosi, talk about backdoor, talk about insider crap, talk about bullshit. I did send a text to Luca, who was recently on the show. Mm-hmm. He never replied. And it's just reaffirmed to most of the tradespeople that I've spoken to, politicians have none of our best interests at all. And I think that basically we were all on our own.
Absolutely. Yeah. From a private sector perspective, it is just, politicians are going to take care of, who they can and who they want. And I just think that the construction industry, we're last on the totem pole.
Yeah.
They look at us as in like, that's a you problem kind of deal. They want more people in the construction trades, and it's just not happening. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to get in the trades anymore. I feel like, in regards to all that, political stuff, I'm more upset of, I would say, when the houses are being built, I'm just scared that the honest tradespeople who are going to build it are not going to get paid what they should.
I agree with you.
All of the people, all of the suits, all of the investors, literally everybody else in the process of building those homes are going to get paid a pretty penny, and then they're going to look at the people building it, and we're still going to be struggling after. And it's, I don't know, I just find that irritating, and it's not very nice. It sucks to think of. You know what I mean? That's all.
It's interesting how you do talk about a lot of politicians are in bed, so to speak, with these massive builders that have become multimillionaires, billionaires, and they started as us, tradespeople, contractors, or whatever. You came up with a business, started doing subdivisions, started growing, started rubbing elbows with elites and things like that. And now they take the bulk of the profit and then they squeeze, like you said, the low tradesperson on the pole to do a job for as little as possible, so then they can still keep up their profits and still maintain all their wealth while we struggle. And then there's also the other end user, which is the homeowner. You've got the homeowner that's being sold a bill of goods that's supposed to be amazing, perfect. I'm an established builder. I've got this record. I only build quality. I'm at dinners with politicians. I'm at dinners with this and that. And I'm like, trust me, trust me, trust me. And you're like, it's a facade. It's 100% facade. And then they're given a home that's crap. And then they have to deal with it after any and all warranties disappear. And then you get this cycle, this story where homeowners start blaming low person on the totem pole, which is us again. And I'm like, why are we? There's a bigger picture here. Tradespeople are only being given so much money to do a task, but then business people are taking a lot of money to build their brand. But yet they don't point the finger at them, and they don't point the finger at the politicians. They point the finger at the tradesperson who came in and did the work, because I guess that's the last person that was in their house instead of the first person who was a salesperson. Is that why we're the ones that are being blamed?
It might be because it's easy, and it honestly, I feel like in construction, it's always a fight to the bottom of who can do it the cheaper to make them the most money. And then when shit hits the fan, it's bound to happen. And it gives us construction people, professional construction people, a very bad name. And I think it's a big turnoff from people trying to get into the industry if that's how it is known that we are treated.
I think all these big builders, and I'll pick fights, I don't give a shit. I think all these big builders, if you get to a certain size as a business and you're making X amount of money, I think there should be a tradesperson tax. And what I mean by that is that a certain percentage of your profits should go into a fund not handled by the government, because that's just another line of abuse, a fund that feeds new tradespeople coming into the industry. It's scholarship, so to speak.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be more money in for the people doing the work. There's got to be. I don't know how else you're going to convince the younger generation to get into the trades when there's so many other careers that might be more appealing to them during that time to make for them to make that decision in their life. Like right after high school, they're going to do what they're comfortable is. And if the techs are, getting rid of trades, if they're becoming more tech heavy, they're going to be like, well, I'm used to sitting in a desk looking at a computer, so that's what I'm going to do.
It's ironic though, that we're all accepting the inflation that's going on right now with the insane amount of money that we're spending on groceries, the insane amount of money that we're spending on fuel. And this is all dictated. Like this is exactly so. They get their crude costs come in, then they have all their taxes on top of that, and then this is your final cost. Why can't some sort of regulation be like that for tradespeople where, okay, fine, you want to hire somebody, a plumber costs this much, period. There's no negotiating, there's no talking, this is what it costs to have this tradesperson come in. If you as a homeowner want to go through the underground economy and go cash, then you can't bark about anything else. If you want to go legitimate, which is what we would always encourage anybody to do, is that you get 3 quotes from a legitimate tradespeople that are properly insured, licensed, set up, legal, everything like that. And then I guarantee you they're all within the same price point. Those are the people that you're hiring, but those rates need to be higher. Like we've already expressed it on this show that the average GC here in Ontario in 2021 is $56K. That's what they're making annually, right? There's no way that these huge builders that recently bought this greenbelt are making $56K. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree.
They're probably not even paying $56K in taxes, right? So it's just like the government needs to stop kissing those asses and start basically saying that a GC should be making $96K a year. That's what they should be saying that these are the prices, this is the salary, and it's justifiable.
Yeah, the problem is that it's all like, I guess, private sector. Like there's no regulations of being like, the plumber should pay this much. Like if you want 3 quotes for a specific job, as much as it sucks, like the client is most likely going to go for the bottom, just because we don't know their financial situation. Like we don't know what's going through their minds. We don't know all that kind of stuff. And I find that the best clients are the ones, I don't want to say the best clients, but the more cautious clients, the more real clients are the ones that have been burned.
Because you burn once.
Yeah, and let's be real, when we're talking construction money, it's not a couple $100.
No.
Like if you get burned, it's a big hole in your pocket.
But we want to know about the whole burn. We know the way burn happens on TV. It's always the contractor's fault. It was always a bad contractor that did something wrong, and poor little client homeowner never deserved this stuff. But I know for a fact there's plenty of shows, because I know the behind the scenes of certain shows, and I'm like, it was the client choosing a cash-based, non-legit contractor, and that's what they wanted to pay. They didn't want to pay the proper price. So then they got what they paid for, and then it fell apart.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, superhero here comes in and says, well, you hired the wrong contractor and they shouldn't do this. And then all of a sudden it's a blanketed statement over the whole industry, which is not the truth. So I do blame the clients and the homeowners too, that there should be a questionnaire before you actually start a job. Like if you don't have the funds to do a proper reno in the way it should be done, then don't do it. You postpone it and wait. But if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, that's not our fault.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of, like your middle class customers, they don't know all too much, and they're not educated in the trades. They're literally trusting the person coming into their house. They don't know anything about them or anything like that. It could have been a good reference, and that's it. You're just putting a lot of trust on this one person.
So how do we start? You can't change this. All you can do is just try to make our perspective of what we think the industry should be like grander. You know what I mean? Like we strengthen numbers. If everyone starts doing the legitimate way of building things, and you start networking together as a pool, and the cash guys, the cash tradespeople, they're going to always be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's also going to be the clients who are always going to go to that. And it was really ironic because like this week I passed by TT Mac was holding the CITT test, right, for the tiling 6-hour test that you can get certified. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 7 people there, 7 tradespeople, 7 tile setters there. And there was 2 there, I swear, had no business being there. And they were tiling, and I was watching this, and it was a car crash. And I'm like, but this is what this person's going in there thinking, that I know how to tile. I'm looking at this and go, I know how to tile. And they're somehow convincing, whether they were convincing the client to tile a project of theirs because the right price has been presented to them, or they are an employee of a business that just sends out a bunch of guys to go to a job and do it, and just do it. You have 6 hours to do this job, and then they're leaving the job horrible. And I've been burned like that too. I've had like somebody else do a job for me, and then all of a sudden I go, you take care of everything. They hire somebody, a reputable company, and all of a sudden you meet the owner of that company, and then they start the job and the owner's nowhere in sight. Then the person that they've hired, which is another person I've never met, they start doing the job. You question things about the scope, then you start watching, you're like, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. Then you get this conversation between this person saying, well, this is how I've always been doing it. I have one day to do this and I have to get this done. And so it's like shortcut after shortcut after shortcut. And then you start complaining, and then the owner of the company starts saying that, well, you're asking too much for the price that was offered. I go, no, I'm asking for a good job for the price that was agreed upon.
Correct. Yeah. There's
a difference.
Yeah. I always think that the quality should always be there. It doesn't matter how much you pay. I do think that if the price is the price, and if you say that you're gonna deliver a certain amount of work, it should be as best as your ability. It should be industry's kind of standard. Like it should be good work. It shouldn't be shit. It shouldn't be go in there, fuck shit up. Hopefully they don't notice something and hide. Like it can't be like that. Cause that's what gives, the industry a bad name, and kind of in the first place is people who do that.
Do you think that there's a lot of these little companies that are basically just mirroring what these big players are doing, where they're just taking all the profits and then they're hiring these low tradespeople on the pole, and you go in, you got this much time, this is how much you're getting paid. You go over the time, doesn't matter. You're getting paid this.
Absolutely.
If you got to go back and do a callback, it's on your dime, not on my dime. And then they just take the profit. They don't care about any of the accountability.
Yeah, I was a sub contractor there for a big company. So it was for a big company, but I subcontracted under that big company. So I was like the third person in line, and they gave you a set price. It wasn't that I did the scope for the work. I didn't give them an estimate. They're like, this is the scope and this is your budget. And
but that never matched, right? Like when you looked at it, it never matched.
No, it should have been more. And then I would always go to the company I was subcontracted for. And then they're like, oh, but the big company tells us our price. So I don't know if they were playing that ball kind of deal, you know what I mean? Giving that excuse. But because I was the GC on that job, if there was something that was not on the scope of work, you rip out a wall, something else is there. Like an example was I ripped out a built-in vanity and there was like a 3-inch pipe under it and they had a custom vanity. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Not going to work.
Yeah. And so basically the client went to the company and was like, what the fuck is this? And it was actually really hairy between them and they didn't want to pay more. Like the client didn't want to pay more. Nobody wanted to pay. So I literally ate it. I did. I had to fucking eat it.
What year, like how many years into construction were you at now at that point?
I don't, like maybe 3.
Okay. So you're just getting started into the industry.
Yeah, but I've been that was like my that was my like being in business for 3 years. That wasn't like in the industry. Like my industry was or I got into the industry when I like fresh out of high school kind of deal. And I'm really good at what I do, but you said this many times before, like a lot of people know how to do the trade, do the work and stuff like that, but not many people know how to run the company. And I think that if you are going to be a company owner in this construction industry, you really need to know your shit. You need to know your regulations. You need to know what you need. And because I haven't had any other, experience in any other industry. So I can't say that having a construction business is very easy. But I know that it's not. I just think that as a business owner in construction, you need a lot kind of deal. It's a lot more.
Do you really, like, I go back to the cash on the ground. Mm-hmm. Do you really need all of that? Because the thing is, and I've had this discussion, I bring it up and I challenge the industry. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe the cash on the ground versus us, legitimate, they're making more profit.
By the cash on the ground, what do you mean by that?
People come in and will give a scope, and I go, listen, I'll do this job. Normally it would cost this, but I can do it for this if it's all cash. And they don't even have a conversation about WSIB. They don't have a conversation about insurances. They don't have any conversation about warranty. They don't have any insurance about brand recognition or anything like that. It's ABC, I'm a Joker tradesperson coming up, showing up with a vehicle with a magnet on it or whatever. Yeah. That's the underground economy. So we can save you all this money if you hire us, but then buyer beware at that point. I honestly believe that they're making more profit than us because we have all of that stuff. To make us legitimate,
absolutely,
it costs us so much money to make us legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the people are able to undercut you because they don't have that overhead. And the unfortunate part is the people who are doing it right, who are doing everything legal, stuff like that. When you go to give a free quote, you don't get that time back. Chances are they're just taking your quote and shopping around with it.
They do that all the time. I used to, in the early days, I would have a stipulation in my that quote saying you're not allowed to show this to anybody else. Yeah, legal and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like a couple did, and I just said, well, you know what? It's a vetting question at that point. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work with this person if they're going to do that, if they're going to cost compare and whatever. There was one client who even took the samples, the full tile samples that I brought, mm-hmm. and then showed it to the other contractors, asking them, okay, can you install this tile? This tile's from this location, this supplier, and all this other crap. And I'm like, you can't do that. I don't want to work with you. This is not how you this is not how you respect the industry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just don't like how people don't give a flying fuck about your time. Because we do give free quotes, it gives the client just curiosity. How much would this cost? And then you and I know that as a GC, it's not a square footage thing. You need to go, you need to see the place, you need to take your measurements. You really gotta dissect it to try to make sure that you cover all your bases and shit like that.
We forget little things that cost us money.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you go give the quote, and then they're like, fine. I remember this time, this guy was an HVAC guy. I guess he worked for the union. I guess he was on strike, and he's just like, I got the blueprint and all the permits to make my basement a legal apartment, 4-bedroom and stuff. And he's like, I want a quote. And I was like, sure. And I worked all day for it. It was a pretty fucking penny. I called him back. I was like, hey, what do you think of it? He's like, oh, I'm just going to do it myself. After I gave him a list by list fucking item of everything he had to fucking do. And I got paid fucking nothing for it.
I've done that before, but I was there. And whenever I hear a client say, we want to turn it into a legal apartment, legal dwelling, legal. And I say, okay, do you realize what that statement means? Like, we need to start speaking about secondary entrance, egress window, the HVAC system, all like sound, fire, everything legally. This is how it's going to get built. And then they are deer in the headlight. They don't realize that that's not illegal because that's never been presented on TV by income property idiot, right? Like that's not, they don't dive into the details of exactly what it costs, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just at that point they say, well, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I go, well, there's no point for me to continue this conversation because I'm only going to build you a legal apartment. Mm-hmm. Right? If you don't want to do that, then that's on you, and then you'll have to deal with it. Sure, you can get away with it. You can make it whichever way you want, but then if there is, I'm not wishing it, if something does happen, you as a homeowner, you're on the hook for this.
Absolutely. It's at the end of the day, it's their house, as you say, like king of the castle. Like that's their house. If they don't want to invest in, if they don't want to pay the proper price to get stuff done properly, then I hate to say it, but they deserve all the bad consequences that come with owning a home and trying to cut corners. Like that's their.
Why did you get into construction, Brian?
Out
of high school?
I got out of high school. I can tell you the whole fucking shablam.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by why someone comes into this. I'm also fascinated by why someone leaves.
Okay.
I pay attention to the exit, whether that's retirement or just scaling back or getting out because they've had enough of the bullshit. Right. And there's been a good chunk of people that have left for those reasons. Right. But I'm still fascinated by the person that gets in.
OK, yeah. The reason why I originally got into the trades, it was right in like in high school. I tried to do sciences. I wanted to be a paramedic. I don't know, learn about mitochondria. It just didn't stick with me. You know what I mean? And then I was like, I'm going to try the trades and shit like that. And my best friend at the time, his father owned a construction company, carpenter. Stuff like that. So I was like, fuck it, why not? And also another main reason, one of the biggest reasons why I got into the trades is because I didn't want to rely on anyone else to fix my home. I wanted to fix my own home. I didn't want to have to call people, you know what I mean, deal with their schedule, their price, shit like that. I'm like, if I'm the king of the castle, I'm going to take care of it, and I'm going to take pride in my home. So that's the original reason why I got in. So then all the stories. So basically, after high school, I went into Conestoga College for Renotech program. It was a 2-year diploma program.
Good program?
It was good. It was like a branch off of carpentry. We got to do like a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? A little bit of electrical, a little bit of plumbing. It was almost like the residential, construction trade. You just learned a little bit of everything. And because you got a little taste of everything, if you wanted to branch off to something else, you're like, oh, I really like plumbing. Then maybe some guys went out to be a plumber and, shit like that. I really liked it.
How far back is this, Brian, that you were at school there?
Holy fuck, 2010?
2010?
Yeah.
What was the vibe like? You being a student, you're there, and how many other students are in the classroom there?
It was a full kind of class. There was a good 20, 25 people in it at the time. They actually had two different classes or sections to the class. Like you had the A class and the B class kind of deal, taking the same course. It was all right.
How was that group of people?
There were people who came out of high school not knowing what the fuck they want to do. There was one guy that was there that was a landlord and wanted to fix up his properties himself. There was a very wide range of people in that course.
Okay. Were they hungry? Were they really interested, passionate? about the industry, or was it like, well, that landlord's just there trying to figure out how can I save $1 because I'm going to do it myself?
Absolutely.
Right. I'll call you, get me a quote, figure out exactly what I got to do, and then I'll do it myself.
Fuck, man.
Right. Well, no, but that's it. We've all been burned that way.
Yeah. I would say for the most part, it was basically just like high school with trades. Like people just sat there, did the work that they were supposed to do, took the tests and stuff like that. It was just like
you enjoyed it though. You learned.
I did. I did learn a lot. For the most part, a lot of theory. And might I say, before I did this program, I had absolutely zero experience in construction except digging fucking holes and stuff like that. Like I've never really worked in the industry.
Got it.
And I got to say, because I didn't know anything in the industry, it was basically like learning fucking science, but in like a different subject. You know what I mean? I did have to learn a lot more terminology. I did have to learn, more shit in that sense. You know what I mean? So it's not like if you don't know construction, you know what I mean? You do have to start from the bottom. You have to learn from the bottom. You have to learn all the basics and kind of all that shit.
Everyone starts from the bottom, man.
Exactly. So yeah, after that program, I worked for my friend's father, as I said. He was just like, we'll give you an apprenticeship, shit like that in carpentry. And so the original, I guess, deal with apprenticeships was you need one person, like one journeyman per one apprentice in your company, right?
Yeah.
But then there was the, I don't know, the new fucking rule where it's just like you need 3 journeymen per apprentice. And so it was my employer hired a journeyman just for me, and he made the meeting for the apprenticeship representative, and they were just like, we can't give it to you because of these new regulations. And I just recently talked to a high school teacher, and they're just like, we understand that now, and we got rid of it. But during that time, I wanted an apprenticeship, and I wouldn't get it. And I honestly was pretty discouraging. It really fucking sucked.
So that goes back to politicians and their rules?
I guess, I don't know. I don't even know.
No, it's not, it wouldn't be them. It's going to be, is it union? No.
College of Trades, maybe.
Yeah, College of Trades, exactly.
But I don't know what they were thinking. If they really wanted people to get to an apprenticeship and stuff like that, you want to make it easier for kids and shit like that, because
you want to make it attractive.
Yeah, 100%. And with as little hurdles as possible,
yes.
You know what I mean? Very, very easy. And so after that, I still worked for the guy. Actually, here's a story. So I know I look like a big burly man, but I'm a pretty sensitive guy, and I'm not afraid to say it. And I know that a lot of people here look at construction as being, very hard ass, very
tough guy.
Absolutely. So
tough guy.
So do you know like the whole thing with yelling at your employees, and that's how you get
which
them to
I've
work?
never done once, not once in my whole career.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit. But there was, so the boss that I had, my friend's dad, he was one of these guys that fucking yelled at you and
Tough
stuff
guy.
like that. Yeah, absolutely. And there was a time where, my bottle was filling and shit like that. I couldn't handle anymore. He's yelling at me. I remember I had a piece of fucking wood in my hand, and he's like, do this. And I just took this piece of, I didn't hit him. Okay. I know.
Thought that's where we might have been going.
No. Listening to the story, I could see why a lot of people would jump to that conclusion. But I started beating the ground. It was a concrete ground. It was in the garage. And he just looked at me and he's like, what the fuck, man? Just do your fucking job and all that kind of stuff. Right. And then like, honestly, I honestly went to the bathroom and I bawled my fucking eyes out, man. And I'm not scared to say it, and I'm sure it happens more than people want to admit.
And you shouldn't be afraid either about sharing that, right?
Of course.
I bet you a lot of tradesmen and women are going through that's exactly how they handle it.
Exactly. And so basically what happened is, I just went to the bathroom. I cried for like 5 minutes. I came out, my eyes were all fucking puffy. My face was all red, obviously. And then the guy was like, the business owner just went to me and he's just like, okay, let's go out for a smoke. And we're like, okay, because he knew what happened, right? Like it was so obvious. I just fucking cried, right? And we were just outside. And he's like, Brian, you just need to understand that this is how I make my money. This is how I make my living. So please understand, it is not personal. It is just business. And after that, he didn't treat me any different, but I never took that personally. And I think that was, I would say, like a growing point in like working in the trades. Like if somebody's yelling at you to get something done, it is not because they're trying to hurt your feelings. It is not because they don't fucking like you. It is because they're just trying to make money in an industry that is cutthroat, and they're just trying to get paid, and they're trying to fucking go home, and they're trying to enjoy the rest of their lives.
Everybody in the industry is in the same boat, man.
Exactly. So the unfortunate part to this story is it got to a point after that summer that I worked with him. He unfortunately got stage 4 brain cancer, and he did have to pass away. It was very sad. What a shitty fucking kind of situation.
How old was he?
49.
Whoa.
And it came out of nowhere. So basically his son went to trade school, and I was there because he's like, I'll keep you busy, because I was his only employee. It was just me and him. And I never heard from him for like 2 weeks. I was like, what's going on? And that's when his son went to my door and was just like, he just got diagnosed. And I wanted to say this story because you really just don't know what the fuck's going on with
in everybody's life.
Exactly. Like, so after that, it was winter time, and then I got into a snow removal company. I lasted 3 weeks, man.
Oh, that's a hard job because you're out at the worst times ever. You're all by yourself. It's just,
the shoveling. I lasted 3 weeks, man. For all the guys listening, if you do snow removal, hats off to you. It's hard. It is labor intensive. You're outside in the freezing cold. You go back in your truck. You get nice and comfortable, and then you got to go back out in the fucking cold again. And that itself is exhausting. And you got to, you know what I mean? You need to, I don't know. You just got to go to fucking work, man. It's hard.
It's tough.
Absolutely. And then, I lasted 3 weeks, and then the springtime came, and I actually worked. I'd have to say that this company was the most, built construction business I've kind of worked at. It was the first time that I actually saw what a construction business is run. So basically, they were a landscaping company building custom decks, fences, swimming pools, the whole 9 yards. You want a beautiful backyard, you call this company, they'll make it happen. And so I always used to think that the construction company was just one guy and an accountant. Yeah. That's what I thought. And then you go and you see this company, and I'll never forget that you're in the front room, like in the waiting area. You see the boss's office. You see the office of the son's, the son's office kind of deal. And then there was a door that had a window in it. And I looked in, and it literally looked like straight from a fucking movie of people fucking running around, like 10 people doing office work.
Really?
Kind of deal. Yeah. And that was a big eye opener because I was like 21, 22. I didn't know anything about business, right? And I'm just like, I wonder what the fuck those people are doing. And now I know they're doing all that admin work kind of deal that nobody talks about, nobody's aware of, that needs to kind of happen here in this industry, right? And then after that, I made the decision. It was only a seasonal job, so I worked there until the fall. And then out of the blue, I was just like, I'm moving to Mississauga, and I'm gonna get a union job, and because I want my ticket. So this sorry, one sec.
Yeah, go.
Sorry. So I wanted to get my carpentry ticket, and the company that I worked for, that landscaping company, nobody was licensed. There was no licensed carpenter, so I couldn't get my apprenticeship, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my apprenticeship. And so I moved to Mississauga before I actually got a job with the union, which kind of a no-no. You never want to quit a job before you have another one lined up, right? Of course, yeah. And I called the union. They're like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. Never heard back. I actually called the Ontario apprenticeship office and never heard a word from them. I was out of work for a while, right? And then I actually just went to a temp agency and was just like, I want to fucking work in construction, like get me somewhere. And I worked for a construction company that did like fire halls and shit like that. And they were all union workers. And I asked them, like, how do you get in? They're like, you just got to keep fucking calling them, keep calling. Like, you got to harass them. And finally I did. I got in. I called him a couple times. I got to the apprenticeship lady. She's like, okay, come on in. We'll sign you up and all that kind of stuff. But with my background, with my passion, I love residential construction kind of deal. I love the small.
But you can't fault. You're gonna learn from different.
Absolutely.
Bad supervisors, bad GCs, commercial, high rise. You know, you're gonna learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I love. But yeah, I went to my first union job was scaffolding outside. Very hard work. I still think my shoulder is totally fucked from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard work. You're fucking giving it, and
Are your ears still ringing?
it might be from other things, but yeah, just bang, bang,
Bang, bang, bang. That's all it is.
And yeah, I gotta say, man, that was some hard work for the union there, and I don't know what the stigma is about union workers being like, oh, they don't get paid, or no, they don't work and shit like that, like they're lazy and stuff. Like, I know that people say that, and I'm like, that's total bullshit. Like, work like fucking dogs, man.
Yeah.
So I did scaffolding for about a year and a half, and then I asked like the union rep if he had any other jobs. Like, I don't know. I was just like, scaffolding just ain't for me. And I'll be honest, man, I don't like heights. Yeah, that's right.
And you're doing scaffolding?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, right? But I'm just like, I got to get my apprenticeship. I got to get the work done. I got to make money and stuff like that. And I was always just like, I'll get used to it. It just never happened. You know what I mean? And I just accepted it. I'm like, I'm not gonna make myself feel uncomfortable and stuff like that if I don't have to. So I called the union rep. I was like, so what other work is there? They're like, we can do retail. And I did a couple of retail stores.
Oh, commercial spaces. Okay.
Yeah. Big commercial. So Saks Off 5th.
Yeah.
So I built a couple of those. And then after that kind of happened, I didn't hear anything from anyone.
Did you get all your hours by then? Or no, not yet?
No. So I'm still a level 3 carpenter, like carpenter apprentice.
Yeah.
And then I was handing out wedding invitations. And then one of my uncles was getting their basement finished, and I talked to the contractor, and he was looking for a guy. And I worked with him for about a year and a half, and I got to say that this guy's life, it was just him and an accountant. And, he woke up, got his kid to school. He did his work. After like 5, 6 o'clock, picked up his kid from school, put him to bed, and he would literally be doing paperwork from like 8 to 1 in the morning every day.
He showed you all the ins and outs of his business, the way he set it up?
Not really, but he did kind of show me, he did tell me, like, to be a licensed person, like a licensed company, all you need is an HST number.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. He didn't really, I don't know, show me anything more than that. Well, that's the one thing that I got from him kind of deal. You know what I mean? And then we were just working at a job, and I'm just like, I want to start doing my own thing kind of deal. I actually had a client I gave a quote to at the corner of like Eglinton and Allen, who wanted like a retaining wall built, whatever. And it was good money. And they were like, you got the job. And we're talking like $18,000 from a guy that's making like $700 a week. I deposited that check in my bank, and I was just like, oh fuck, like felt like a fucking boss walking out of that ATM, right? Because you're looking at that, right?
We all have that feeling. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I went to my boss. I told him about it. He was very understanding about it and all that kind of stuff. So then I started the jobs, and this is where a lot of lessons were learned. So on this first job, you just think of just get the fucking work done, like how bad could it be kind of deal, right? So the job was that there was a wooden retaining wall and there was a tree in front of the house that was pushing the wooden retaining wall onto the sidewalk, and the job was to build a new retaining wall of stone to make it nice.
How big was the tree?
It was the trunk was about 4 feet in diameter. It was fucking huge.
Listen, retaining wall, lose, tree, win. It's just, is what's going to happen.
And so, obviously, and, I don't mind saying this, but basically, I did the mistake not calling the city about the tree. I didn't do any of that. I was just like, I did know that you're not allowed to touch a tree, but I was like, it's in the ground, it's the roots, it should be fine. What a fucking idea, right? So I'm literally cutting the
That's
root.
the part of the tree that you're not allowed to touch. Yeah, I know.
All the tree. You're not allowed to touch any fucking tree.
Yeah. So you start cutting roots?
Yeah, I started it was only like 6 inches too of roots that I had to fix, and then a neighbor starts fucking coming out. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing with the tree? And I was like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, you're not allowed to touch the tree, and I was like, okay, are you sure, kind of deal? Like it's the roots of the tree, and it's sticking out on the sidewalk. Like I need to do this for my job. And then she's like, oh, you got to call the city, and blah, blah, blah. Like just made a huge fucking thing of it. So I'm not there to cause trouble. I'm there to be like, okay, no problem. And then I called the city. I called 311 or something. And I was like, so this is what happened. And then the guy came, I was just outside working the next day, and he looked like a young guy, sunglasses, in his, 311 little coupe kind of car. And I was like, okay, if he has any questions, he'll let me know, shit like that. And then I was just working out backyard, and I came back like 5 minutes later, he was gone. And I was like, okay, I wonder if they're going to call me or something like that.
Took some pictures or whatever.
Yeah, took pictures and stuff like that. And then I got to say, my clients were very understanding. These were like top tier clients, which I think set the bar very high for other clients kind of deal. Like my expectations of clients were high. And then I got a call from a client later that night, and he's like, hey, Brian, how are you doing today? I was like, I'm okay. How are you? He's like, I'm all right. And he's like, actually not good, Brian, not good at all. I just got a $650 ticket in my mailbox because somebody's cutting a tree in my front yard. And I was like, really? Because I figured that if the city had any problems, because I called, they would talk to me, and I didn't want to stress out the homeowner any more than I kind of had to. And he's just like, Brian, you just got to communicate that stuff to me. But I honestly didn't know that the client was in charge or liable for that tree. I figured that if anyone was getting in trouble, it would have been me, but it was the client. It was the client. He was very, very understanding. He was okay, but that was a lesson learned on that fucking job. You're not allowed certain materials so close to the tree and shit like that. But yeah, again, like when you branch off from being an employee to a business owner, especially in construction, there's a lot of shit you don't know, and that's just a perfect.
But everybody thinks that they can do it. It's like they can handle it. There's all kinds of stuff that you don't know about.
Exactly. Like when you're working and you see your boss, you're like, what are you doing? Like you're not here working. They're giving quotes. They're doing a lot of other fucking work that you don't even know is needed to run the company. It was owning a company was very humbling, and I'm very happy I did it, kind of deal. And then I had other clients who were I don't know, some were understanding and just some weren't, you know what I mean? Like there are clients who are very happy that you're there, doing the work, making their dreams come true. And there's others that just don't give two fucking shits about you.
It's a learning process though. Trust me, man, we've all done it in the beginning. We're all like, okay, I'll take the job. And then you don't have all the answers. And you should really be speaking to other tradespeople that may have gone through similar situations to see if you could pick their brain. You can do your research about going online and taking a look at the city's website, but you got a better chance of, figuring out other things. It's just it's difficult. There's a lot of hurdles, but it's not as easy as a lot of the younger trades think. Well, I'm going to go on my own. I can make a lot more money.
Absolutely.
You can lose a lot more money too. And you can get fined, and you have all these other headaches that are attached to it. Sure, you're your own boss. It's great. It's wonderful, but you don't know. Yeah,
it's all that liability. Like you got tons more liability, and that's the thing. Like you need liability insurance and shit like that. I had one client. He was an absolutely great client, but a good example of a shitty contractor is he was going to sell his house and he wanted to make it open concept. Well, this guy took out like a main support beam, and
just took out the wall.
Open concept in a house. So he started like taking it down, and I don't know how, but the homeowner was just like, "What the fuck? That's a main support wall kind of deal."
What was his business called? House of Cards?
I don't know, bullshit contract. I don't know, man. I have no idea how he found him or anything like that. I think he said it was like a reference from a friend or something. But do you know what's the cherry on top is that the structure of the building was
Compromised?
and then the contractor goes to him and is like, burn the house down and then we'll claim the insurance money. Yeah.
That was the solution for compromising the structure of this. Wow. Because there's never an investigation when it comes to a fire in an insurance claim.
Yeah.
That scale.
Yeah, I guess so. I just the guy told me that.
You got to give him like maybe 4 out of 10 for creativity on that one.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I can't believe like these people are in people's houses and clients are supposed to be trusting these guys. Like, I don't know, man. It really fucking.
But we don't know the whole story too, and I don't always fault the client. I'm just saying that if they did go and try to hire somebody for half the cost of what it should cost, and they found this person just fly by night somewhere, and they show up in a Toyota Corolla with a magnet on it or something like that.
Yeah.
There's flags. There's red flags that are just popping up. I mean, like there's a reason why legitimate contractors show up a certain way or have a presence online a certain way or have all their licenses and insurance. And they're proud to drop off a certificate from WSIB. They're proud to send off a certificate for their insurance and how much they have coverage. They're proud of all that stuff. There's a reason why. And if your tradesperson that you're hiring is just about showing up and then giving you a price and just verbally saying it to you or even scratching it on a piece of note and going, this is what I could do. I could even drop it this much if I got rid of the tax.
Yeah.
Then don't hire that person.
Yeah, I think to like fix the problem with bad contractors too, like there are certain
I don't think we fix the problem with bad contractors. You know what we do? We just keep on building better contractors.
Yeah. So I also think that if you're going to buy a home, if that's going to be the king of your castle, you need to be somewhat educated in your house. Like you should know you need certain permits. Before you buy a house, before you are a registered homeowner, I think that there should be some kind of a test that shows like you know what a house is and you know what it takes to run a house.
How many times you had a client ask you, do you need a permit to do this? I've been asked that thousands of times, and I just answer, you need a permit for everything, period. You need a permit to demolish things. You need a permit for everything.
Yeah, I don't think one client has ever asked me, hey, do I need a permit for that? Not one client.
Really?
Yeah. They're just like, I want, like, just fix this or fix that and stuff like that. And I'm like, there's
a process.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that.
There's a process.
And it's always the people who do it cheaper than you. They don't get the permits and stuff like that. But I think it's all about the homeowners just not understanding the process of renovations and remodelings and stuff.
I agree. I want to shift gears here. A little bit of history I want to tell everybody here.
Fuck yeah.
Total residential renovation expenditures in Canada. This is Canadian. So this is all across Canada. Expenditures on home renovations, including additions, alterations, upgrades, and equipment and installations made to homes in order to increase their value. 1980. What year were you born in?
91.
Wow. I was like 2 years out of high school. 1980, the country of Canada spent $16.7 billion on some sort of renovation. 85, they spent $22 billion, increase of 31%, 31.7%. So 5 years later. 1990, they spent $26.8 billion. 1995, they spent $21.7 billion. 2000, they spent $25 billion. 2005, they spent $43.2 billion. What a huge jump, from 2000 to 2005. That's a 72% jump. 2010, they spent $55.6 billion. 2015, they spent $61.3 billion. 2020, they spent $65.5 billion. And then 2021, they spent $75.9 billion. So sure. I'm actually a little surprised by this, that over a 41 year period, it's increased 5 times.
Yeah, it could
5x.
It could be, inflation of the products. It could be the land, but I just feel like the amount of money that the people building those homes are still not their profit doesn't increase like that 5 times. You know what I mean?
No, our wages haven't increased like this. And I'll argue that the bigger builders, the millionaires, the players out there, their profit has, I bet you, higher than that.
Absolutely.
So they're still building, and these guys they're not jokers. They're business people. They know what they're doing, right? So they're negotiating deals with all of their materials. They've got a subdivision to build, 300 homes or whatever it is. You're going to give me a sheet of drywall for pennies. For exaggeration, I'm saying, right? Because I'm going to order X amount of drywall, right? So this is the price you're going to give me. You're going to lock it in and shut up. And if you don't give me that, I'm going to go to your competition and they will give it to me. So then it's another race to the bottom. So it's like you're taking advantage of the people, the boots on the ground. That's where I go back to. So, I mean, all these numbers, this is going to be interesting to see what 2022 is going to be about, because even Luca himself said that in the last year, 100,000 of the 756,000 homes that were built in the last 10 years here in Ontario came from last year, 100,000 of those homes just in 1 year. So I can only assume that it might be 85 billion, it might even be 90 billion was spent in 2022. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, as the saying goes, or as I like to say, people make people, but only tradespeople make properties. Only tradespeople make.
I like that.
Make roofs over heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if the population just keeps going higher, and if less and less people get in, or less people get into the trades, then like less homes are going to be built, and property values are going to keep going up.
It's kind of scary, because the thing is that you have all these established builders and successful business owners, whether they're small renovation companies or massive ones. They have figured out the game of making profit, and they just focus on that. Whether that is the right thing to do, because they do, I think to make profit, you have to take advantage of boots on the ground.
Yeah, that's also the thing. Now, it could be any company, or it could be any other industry or stuff like that, but I always hate it when a company has to take money from the workers and not the clients. You know what I mean?
I agree. But the thing is, then you get into the argument about if you spend that extra, that's where that whole argument on a past show about passion versus profit, right? It's just like at some point you're going to have negotiating powers with yourself saying, am I passionate or am I profitable? And these individuals that are very hugely successful to that dollar value and going to dinners with politicians, they fuck passion and embrace profit.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, it's, I can only speak for myself, but that just bugs me, especially like construction people. I know we had this conversation before of how like we're beating our bodies. Like our bodies aren't the same. If we weren't so labor intensive, I'm sure that we'd be a lot better off, kind of deal. And then afterward, like I feel like it's very cutthroat, the construction industry, with the boots on the ground. Like everyone on the boots on the ground are trying to climb over each other. And I just feel like we'd be much better off if we were always just trying to help each other out. Like we were, I don't know how I see it.
That's why I was saying, I agree with you. I was saying is that you're never going to get rid of the cash. You're never going to get rid of these jokers. All you can do is keep on making our segment of the industry bigger. Add more people into that segment. That's all you can really do. So if you keep on educating new trades that are coming in and explaining to them that there is a way to do this, to be profitable and to have a successful business, a successful career, you have to just join our team instead of that team, right? You have to, and then contribute to this team as well. Keep backing us up.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think?
I do think to get more people into the trades, you need, I don't know so the biggest, I think company in Ontario, I think I did research, it was like PCL, and what they do is they split the profits between the workers. I think a lot more construction companies need to
in what respect? You know that, like for
no, but it might
they're
be
getting a profit, they're getting a bonus.
It might be a bonus, but I know that whatever profit that they get, it gets divided between the employees. And it's it was just a Google search. Hey, it was just a Google search. But even if it's false, it's the principle that kind of
I know of a lot of smaller shops. I know a roofing company that does it. I know a landscaping company that does it. It's a way of thanking the crew that basically built the brand.
Yeah.
They do that. They have a certain percentage of profit that is set aside, and then at the end of the year, it's given out as bonuses. And then there's also dinners and get-togethers and just celebrations about, guys, we did it. The team, we pulled this off. And I love that a lot of these other smaller businesses are also offering the same benefits that Union offers. So now you can be competitive with, because I guess the age-old question, like everyone's always arguing about with the Union versus us going on our own, is that there's benefits there, there's perks there, there's security there, there's all kinds of stuff. But if you start implementing that into everyday, your business, my business, everybody's business, then we both are benefiting here. Sure, I'm not dogging the unions. Everyone can go to the union, do that. It's great. It's not for me. It works really well. But why can't we offer the same things here on our end here? But it goes back to, we have to go back to the client and ask for more money.
Yeah.
Because our rates are too low and our presentation of what our scope of costs are too low, because the clients are comparing us to the cash grab guys.
Yeah. I honestly find that too with all of the like the smaller companies, they have every like good intention of taking care of their workers and stuff. They want to give people
For sure.
benefits. They want to give them vacation pay. And then like the best thing is when an employer goes to you and it's just like, we're not going to pay you double time, but I want you to bank your hours. You know what I mean? And I just think like as a worker, but we, like as a business owner, like you got to do what you got to do to stay afloat because of the cash industry. Like we're just in such competition with them, and it really, I don't know. It's very hard.
Why doesn't the government police the cash industry?
I don't know how they can. If everything's cash, there's no record.
See, here's the problem: is that homeowners. I was just going to say that you'd have to identify the government that you're doing a rent on your home. You have to let them know. But they won't do it, because by you renovating your home, the value of your home goes up, which means your property taxes go up. And homeowners are not going to do that. So there's lots of renovations that are happening, and they do it for that reason, because they don't want the property tax assessment to find out that you've spent $1 million on the inside of your house, because guess what? Your property tax just jumped from 6 to 12 or whatever it's going to be. And they don't want to pay that. So there's a lot of faults here.
Yeah, it also comes back to like the king of the castle mentality. Like I remember you said, OSHA, if a homeowner walks on a job site and they're not wearing safety shoes and shit like that, OSHA can't touch them because they're king of the castle.
They're non-applicable, yes.
So I think it's like that private sector of like, if that's your castle, maybe they have bigger things to worry about or stuff like that. I don't know how much manpower, how many resources it would take for the government to run that. I have absolutely no idea. But
well, for the government to even care about doing that.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know, man. There's so many different reasons as to why the construction industry is kind of what it is and kind of all that.
Brian, have you ever thought about getting out of the business?
Yeah, actually. Okay, so we're going to get personal here, and this is why. So
I've thought about it.
Yeah. So, but this is very, very personal. Is my wife used to help me with my business, and for all the viewers that are listening, April 25th, Manny did a Manny Monday for a contractor whose wife passed away, and it was a GoFundMe page to help with the kids and stuff. I'm that guy, you know. Maybe I should have said it at the beginning of the podcast.
No, you didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
It's just like you reached out to me. You sent me a text because we've been talking, and you've got my number.
Yeah.
And I was devastated by the news. And then I said in a heartbeat, and I said, whatever else you need, you let me know what you need, right?
Yeah, of course. And I just want to say, you know, Manny, thank you, and everyone in the Construction Life community. If you donated, if you just sent a personal DM, you know, thank you. And I honestly don't love what happened, but I absolutely love how it brought the construction community together.
They were supportive.
They were very supportive. So in regards to like getting out of the industry, I will still do construction and stuff like I will still, I'll probably work for someone 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, hopefully benefits, pension. But it's because I have kids and I want to be present for my kids. You hear it all the time where, you know, the person who works in the trades, the spouse or whatever, is never home. The other spouse resents them for it and stuff like that. It's a very hard life. It's very hard to.
This is common in the industry.
Exactly. And being a business owner, I can't, and it was always my wife that dealt most of my paperwork. Like she was the one emailing clients and stuff like that. So I'm like, in regards to business or family, I'll choose family all day, you know,
as you should.
Absolutely. But I understand how people can get so caught up in the business side, like being like, oh, I'm running late. And that's also the thing with construction, with like traffic and shit like that. Sometimes it's very hard to be punctual. Like you're driving on the 401, there's fucking construction and shit like that.
But dropping kids off and taking care of family duties and like there's all kinds of stuff. Every tradesperson I know I speak to them, they're going through that. And then when your life is dramatically upended this way just because of that, like that happens, and you can't even imagine how you do all that stuff now.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, it's with the construction industry and owning my own business. Like I love construction. I love doing it, but that business side, I'm not ready to commit in the situation I'm in. I'm not ready to commit all that time. I would rather spend the time with my kids than giving free fucking quotes to people who are just going to waste your fucking time and want a price.
I agree with you.
So
for some weird reason, a lot of clients don't even realize that you have a family. Mm-hmm. You have responsibilities.
Exactly.
Like you're just a tradesperson who shows up with nothing behind you except the quote.
Yeah.
It's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't know your personal life. They don't know what you're juggling, what you're going through. I'm not saying that they should care, but like as a tradesperson trying to get work and stuff like that, I feel very stuck giving free quotes. You know what I mean?
I agree
it's
with
like you have to do it.
I agree with you.
So in regards of like getting in the industry, getting out of the industry, I love what I do, Manny. I absolutely love building shit. I love working with my hands. I can never see myself working an office job, whether I do trim or something like that. I will still build. But I just got to make sure I'm there for my kids. That's absolutely number one.
So it's good that you actually sat down and you're thinking about how you want to move forward, and you've taken a backseat to the business, but you're still you're still a part of the business.
Absolutely. I will still contribute to building, because I know that, you know, people need hands and shit like that, and tradespeople. I guess this is a good time to say about the other company I'm starting to make. So all the viewers, I'm making a company. I got it trademarked. It's Building Better Minds. I'm working on. It's a project to help educate folks with the basics of construction. I guess it doesn't matter what age. If you're interested in construction, you don't know where to start. I'm trying to create a product to help out with it, because I understand that if you do want to start construction from scratch, it's extremely intimidating. It is very overwhelming with the shit you need to know that you don't know, and learning anything new from scratch can be pretty intimidating, especially if you're comfortable where you are. So,
and I'll let everybody know that I've seen it, and I think it's brilliant.
Thanks, man.
And I think that actually the industry needs it. And we've met a few times to discuss it. You picked my brain about it, and I've given you some thoughts. And I'm like everybody else right now, just waiting for it to show up and arrive, and so then people can start using it at that point. So I mean, just watch out for it. But yeah, I know I don't want you to dive into it, because I want you to finish up what you're working on with it. But once it does come out, you're going to see the industry embrace it, and that's going to be amazing to see.
And that's what I love. Like, I love teaching people. I think that when you know something, you know how all the older people are just like, what else am I going to do except teach? Like, I want to teach what I know. Like, that's very good feeling to have if you teach people. And the unfortunate part was that when I was a general contractor, or I guess I still am. I don't fucking know. When I was giving free fucking quotes, I justified it of being like, I'm going to go over to the house, whether I do it for free or not, and I'm going to educate them because maybe they don't know what the fuck's going on. Maybe they need direction.
The majority don't.
Exactly. And I'm like, there's so many better ways to teach people that is not one-to-one kind of deal. Like your podcast, like you're like world fucking wide, you're teaching people this instead of like one-on-one and I'm fighting fucking traffic to do so kind of deal. Right. Yeah, that's it.
I agree. I totally agree. Right. So, but it is like, I wanted to chat about the pressures that we all go through. Like everybody that starts in the industry establishes themselves as an individual tradesperson, then decides whether or not to leave the union or leave their current setup and possibly going on their own, taking a big step. There's always these different steps that happen in a construction career. And then becoming your owner of a business, becoming an entrepreneur basically. And then along the way, you're still trying to figure out how to do this, and you're never going to figure it out. It's ever evolving. All you can really do is try to have conversations with as many like-minded people as possible. You will quickly meet a lot of people that subliminally will want you to fail. That's just human. I've never seen any other species on the planet that actually looks at themselves and goes, I want you to fucking fail. No, the human beings are the only ones that do that, right? And so ignore those ones and try to partner up with people. And when I say partner, I mean find the time to reach out and be genuine about it and ask. I get approached all the time. I'll always make time. Phone call, I give up. Everyone knows on this show I've given up my phone number, right? And I joke about how I'm on a huge list now with my email and my phone number and all this other crap. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care. It's like I know how to block and disinor all that marketing crap, but I sift through it and I get to the tradespeople that are reaching out to me and they want to just pick my brain. And one guy recently, he was Aiden, and he's like, my mom, huge fan of yours. She told us to start following it. I started following it. I think it's amazing. Do you have some time? I've got some questions. And I'm like, here's my number, man. Tell me when you want to talk. We'll talk. Like you'll have more than one question. I guarantee you. I may not have all the answers, but I definitely give you some insight from what I've learned from the 300 plus guests that I've spoken to here, the jobs that I've done, the people I've met through Instagram and all kinds of situations. Like I'm learning every time. Every time I have a guest on the show, I learn. And then all I'm doing is trying to share that. That's all I'm trying to do. And this has been an amazing platform to do that. So everyone's asking for more and for more. Every day I get compliments about the shows and all kinds of stuff. A few constructive criticism about certain audio levels and crap like that. And I'm like, yeah, just calm the hell down and we're figuring it out. Right. Yeah. So, and I also love that I'm also getting invites and requests about, would you mind a spectator? I want to come on the show, but I've got a nephew, cousin, somebody, spouse or whatever. They want to sit by and just watch on the show. And I'm like, maybe we'll get to the point where we'll have bleachers here. I don't fucking know. But the thing is like that, I love the engagement. I love that the construction industry has our backs. I love that we see one, they've got a question or they've got a problem, they've got something going on, and the rest of the construction industry is more than willing to support that back. And that's what I love about it, right? I think I've gotten to the point where all the a-holes in this business realize that it doesn't fucking bother me anymore. So they really leave me alone because they know that it doesn't fucking bother me anymore. I don't have time for them. I've got time for everybody else that has, I don't care how small, big, dumb, smart question, anything. I don't care what it is. So I will contribute as much as I possibly can until I can't do anymore. But like you and like everybody else in construction, I've got ideas. I've got things I want to go. I want to try. I want to do this. I want to do that, all kinds of stuff. So right now I'm doing this and I'm focusing on this. Well, I don't know where it leads to. We're going to see. I've got I had an interesting meeting with you last week. I had another interesting meeting last week with somebody else. I have 2 interesting meetings happening next week. And I'm like, I love the communication process of this whole thing. And that's what we have to start off with, right? And I'll be very vocal with anybody that wants to either attack the construction industry or not contribute to the construction industry. And we're always trying to figure out how to make this profitable and how to make it positive as well, too. That's my PSA right there. That's the extent of it. So, and there's a lot, that's what I meant by it's pressures. There's pressures. All of the tradespeople in this business go through all the, and then by the way, at the end of it, when you cross a line and you like equals, then you have your personal life. Nobody really discusses the personal life. Everybody is going through shit. People, I told you because you were here and we are talking, I've gone through all kinds of crap in the last 4 years. You know what I mean? That nobody knows on air. Like nobody, only my close circle knows, right? And I've had conversations with so many other tradespeople that have gone through all kinds of crap that they don't share publicly. They don't want to share it, but they need to speak to somebody, right? We all need speak. Like, trust me, you're not the only one. I've done it. Everybody else does it. You just break down because you look at your construction life and your personal life, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're just like, is my construction life really affecting my personal life? And hey, man, chances are, yeah, it does, man. It is.
Yeah, it is, right? But there is a way in and out of it, and there is a way to help each other. There's a way. There's definitely a way. And there's, as corny as it may sound, it's very true. This shit will pass, man. Like,
absolutely.
This shit will pass. And the flip side is that even when it's brilliant and everything's perfect and everything's great, that shit will pass too.
Absolutely. Yeah. The good times flow, the bad times flow. Like, it's not always, flowers and rainbows. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So, no, I mean, what else you want to like? We're getting close to getting to the 12 questions. I didn't want to touch upon the other segments there, but what else you want to chat about?
Maybe of why kids or why people aren't maybe going into the trades, or how we can get more people into the trades.
It's money. I think the money is the first thing.
It's very true. I think that if everyone got money, got paid more money to do it, you would see a lot more people. Like if I'm thinking at the end of World War II, where they just had to put up houses. How did they put up all those fucking houses for all the war vets to come? It
was bottom wages, and it was track building, and I guess that's where the piecework came into effect. And like I agree with you that if you bring more money into the industry as a salary, you're going to get a lot more people coming into the industry. But I don't think it's going to make who is already in this industry work better. The good ones are working good as it is. I don't think it's going to convince the bad ones to become good ones. I think all it's going to do is just bring in new ones. Yeah,
I think that, like I was saying before, with the company that pays the dividends to the employees or whatever, I think that would be a company who would have a lot of good people in it, just because if there was a bad person in it, all the other employees would be like, you need to hurry the fuck up. You need to get going. Stop dragging your feet. We're all in this together kind of deal, right? Yeah. Like, you're fucking with my profits. And I think that company would excel in profits and production and everything. But there's also like other reasons. I would say just, my friend told me this because I asked him this question, like, what do you think of the trades kind of deal? And he's just like, I don't like how all the trades hate each other. Like the electricians hate the drywallers, hate the plumbers. And that's what he sees. Like, it might just be
Where's that coming from though, Brian? Is that coming from your personal life? There's just disarray in your personal life?
To be honest, probably like the Instagram.
I thought we were past that.
Past that as in...
We're past that whole fucking high school peer pressure bullshit. Like, you're not part of the cool clubs.
Yeah, but this is like what somebody like told me. Like, it was just an example of what he said, why he didn't like the trades kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like, how can we get more kids in it? But if that... And the problem is there might be so many different reasons as to why people don't want to get in it. All they need is just one reason, and that's enough for somebody.
I think you're starting with the money, and I know that a lot of people online have said, then just charge more. But I think that was fine for 2020, 2021, and then it started to turn in 2022 because now I think clients are scaling back projects that were bigger than they can afford, and now they're trying to figure out what's the minimum amount we can afford without getting into trouble with a potential what's going to happen if it does. What I get frustrated with is that everything else outside of construction, the prices have gone up, right? And it's just like, I'll give you an example. I was downtown in Queen West there, and everyone knows me, knows I'm a big fiend for banana bread, right? It's just like
banana bread's good shit.
I'm a fiend, right? But I was in a certain establishment. I won't even say the name, but there was a banana bread loaf, that you can call it a loaf. It was probably, I guess, a little bit bigger than our timer here, right? So a little about the size of the iPhone, but maybe 3 times as thick.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him how much, and he goes $10.99. And I'm like, fuck you. And I literally said, fuck you. And I go, I'm not paying $10.99 for that. Like, I don't care. There's no such thing as magical banana bread from Banana Land. It just doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I get frustrated when, okay, fine, you're a butcher shop and you're selling this and you're charging $10.99. I'm building a home. I'm giving like a brand new bathroom. I'm figuring out all these problems, and I'm challenged to charge a certain rate, and you're charging $10.99 for a fucking banana bread.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else around us has gone up. And then when we try to go up a little bit, we get smacked, pushed down. It frustrates me.
Yeah, I also think too, like, and anybody else when it comes to like building and renovations, like as I said, everybody else makes the money. The developers make the money. The people selling the products make the money. The investors make the money. Homeowners can make the money. But I just feel like we're last. We're the last people to make money.
If there's any money.
If there's any money left, that's right.
And as a business owner, that's your profit. You try to save this. And then it's like, do you become that asshole GC where you treat everybody like shit and you push them until they drop their price and they drop their price and they drop
I
can't do that.
I can't do that. I'm too nice of a guy. I can't. I'm too ethical I could never do that to anyone.
But I did realize like midway through my career, like I'd say maybe 7 years ago, I had a conversation. I was like, you guys are charging too much, because guess what? I'm going in presenting. I'm not even up charging your prices. I'm not even adding a kickback or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that shit. And I'm still presenting it. And the clients are still coming back at me saying, you're too high, Manny. You're too high. And they don't go with me then. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I had to reassess it. I'm like, my subs are charging too much. So you guys have to back down.
Were you able to like find other?
That's exactly the door. So then
yeah.
you have 2 avenues at that time. You either have a conversation with the current subtrades that you built a team with and you trust, and they're the go-to, and they'll always be there for you for your jobs, and they'll make you a priority, which is all great, whatever. And you tell them either you drop it or I go get somebody else. And both happened. Mm-hmm. Some would drop it and I would go try somebody else. I mean, the nice thing about this show is that I'm meeting all kinds of tradespeople, and I'm like, listen, I can give you a job. I can talk to you if you want to go this and all this other stuff. So it's not that I'm trying to not work with people that I trust or I've worked with before. It's just our objective as GCs is we want to create our pool as big as possible, so then I can get more and more projects, and then I can get more and more trades on there.
Yeah, exactly. And as like a GC, we're really stuck in the fucking middle of it all.
We're always
stuck in the fucking middle, and we're always paid last. You know what I mean? You're trying to please the client, you're trying to please the subcontractors, and at the end, you're just fucking sitting there being like, this is fucking hard. This is very difficult. And it's just, it can be tough, man. It's tough to please everyone. It's like you can. And then it's like, who do you please? Do you please the client? Do you please the subcontractor? It's tough, man.
Me these days, I please me.
Absolutely. You do have to put you first. I do totally agree.
If you don't fix you first, then everything around you is going to be broken.
Yeah, I agree. You do. That's unfortunately with everything I've gone through, that's one thing that I have learned is you really got to take care of yourself first.
In the event of a plane situation, do you not have to put your mask on first and then help others?
Yeah, I think that's what the video says.
That's what it says. I know. Either way, you're screwed. But
yeah,
I mean, like the point is that you have to fix what's going on in your life first, whether that's personally, professionally, whatever. Fix that first, and I guarantee you, then you'll just naturally be able to help others.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like if you try to please everybody, you can't. And then when you actually do see somebody who you want to help, you're burnt out from it all and you don't. So it's like if you are going to help somebody, really be like pick the nice ones. Don't help everybody, or as I said, you're going to be burnt out.
I agree.
So
let's do the 12 questions, Brian.
Fuck yeah. Let's see what we got.
You ready for this?
Bring it on.
What is your favorite construction word?
Oh. I would say I don't want to sound generic, but I love like skilled work kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like nothing gets me going more than perfect fucking miters or perfect craftsmanship, shit like that. I absolutely
Puts
love
a
it.
smile on your face, man.
Oh, like just looking back at it and just being like, fuck, there's nothing wrong with that. It is absolutely perfect. I love looking at it.
Can't get any better than that.
Yep.
What is your least favorite construction word?
Shit, man. It's so funny because I thought of all these questions. I had them all fucking down. And now it's just like, fuck.
Everybody has them nowadays. I give them all out. Everyone knows them.
Absolutely. Construction word. I would say.
But I guess it's like a game, like a game show or something like that, where it's like, oh man, it's all different when you're there and you're being asked.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know my least favorite.
Least favorite construction word.
Shit, man. I don't know anything negative. I would say like anything like shit or maybe I don't know, man. Pass. Bring me back to this, man. Fuck, I could be sitting here for days.
What turns you on in construction?
I don't know. Good, nice clients. I guess like when a client is very understanding, very
respectful of the industry.
Absolutely respecting the industry. That I love that shit.
What turns you off in construction?
Greed, disrespect, always stepping on top of each other kind of deal.
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh, I don't know. You can't go wrong with the classic fuck, man. Like fuck the fucking fuckers. It can be used absolutely anywhere. It's amazing kind of deal.
What's your favorite vehicle? Anything in the world?
All right. Well, for the viewers listening, maybe the younger generations should know this, probably know this. So I play games. New game came out called Call of Duty Warzone. So I am going to say an AC-130 gunship, I think, is the most badass vehicle in the fucking world. Can't go wrong with that shit.
What's your least favorite vehicle in the world?
Jeez. It would have to be... There's
been quite a cross-section of typical ones.
Yeah, and I want to say something different. You know what I mean?
Well, we've had Smart. We've had Cube. That comes up a lot. We've had Pinto. Pinto came up.
Shit, man. You know what? Fuck. Private jets. I don't know. Burning all that fucking fuel.
Just private jets. That's actually a good one.
Yeah, you don't need that. I don't think.
That's a good one. What construction sound or noise do you love?
Ooh, I don't know. I just love the sound of the miter saw cutting wood. Just,
What construction sound or noise do you hate? We haven't even talked about the tools that you like, man. What color are you?
Fuck. Oh shit, I'm the most generic motherfucker.
You're DeWalt?
Yeah.
You're DeWalt.
I love how you just called it. That's so funny. Now let me say, like, because you start with the you get the system, like the 6 tools that have all the thing, and then they get you on the battery fucking platform, and then you buy all that kind of shit. But I have to say that there's certain tool companies that have the best of every tool, like the Sawzall of Milwaukee. The Makita drill is very light, you know what I mean? So
I think every brand has the best of a tool in
Correct.
their arsenal.
Yeah, like the DeWalt, the chop saw is very common kind of deal. I'm not saying it's the best, but it gets the job done.
But DeWalt's multi-oscillating tool has got to be the worst.
Oh man, I don't know. And yeah, I gotta say,
all of them good, and we've always said on the show, whatever works for you.
Absolutely. Okay, as long as it works and as long as you're happy with what you're using, it gets the job done, man. It's just got to be reliable.
So the majority of your stuff is yellow?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, but that still doesn't answer the question.
Excellent.
What construction sound noise do you hate?
When you turn the water on, you still hear water flowing.
Oh,
when there shouldn't fucking be. Oh, your heart fucking stops.
I've been like, all of a sudden you're almost like $6 million man, and your ears just there, and you're like trying to crank it and trying to figure out if you hear anything at all.
Yeah, there was a time I was working for a guy, and we didn't put a stopper or whatever on the thing. So I'm turning the water on, and I keep hearing it, and he's all the way at the second story, and I'm all the way in the basement, and I just hear, turn the fucking water off. off. And I was like, oh shit. And I go upstairs with water all over. It was unbelievable.
But here's the flip side. I remember the days where we would be doing a job and you're cutting into the clay pipe to connect. You giving the heads up to the clients, don't use the bathroom. And as soon as you cut and you're open, you hear the flush. And all you try to figure out is how long that shit is literally going to take to get to your point, man.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that part of the job.
Absolutely. It's, running water, man. Scary shit.
All right, back to what's your least favorite construction word?
I would say like fuck you kind of deal. It's basically like that's your problem, not mine. I don't want to help you with that problem kind of deal. Anything like that.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
I was thinking about this. I don't know if I would love to be actually if I were to like do another trade or something like that.
Could be anything in the world.
I know, but I love construction, and I don't know what else I'd fucking do unless I'm like a fucking black belt martial artist. I think that'd be pretty dope. But in regards to the trades, like one thing I absolutely love is like a good mudding job. You know what I mean? Like literally putting glass on a wall.
I love watching them doing it.
Yeah. I think that's fucking cool. I love that.
It's still, in my opinion, that's not the most important trade on the job site.
Oh, of course.
They're all equally important, okay?
Absolutely.
But for some weird reason, drywallers think that's the important one on the job. What profession would you not like to do?
As I said, man, I'm a very honest person. I don't like lying to people. I think it's very honest. Anything to do with lying, like politician, lawyer, something like that. Even an office job. Man.
I was just gonna say, so you can't be a politician, you can't be a lawyer.
I'm too nice of a guy. I just
you could be a barkeep. They never lie.
Yeah,
they always listen and tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? I just realized exactly.
No, she's been waiting a long time.
Yeah. No, it has been a long time, but I apologize. I didn't even realize that.
No, I was ready. The reason why I didn't know any other questions is because I knew exactly what I would say to that one. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting for that last one. So it is what it is, man.
It is, man. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show and sharing. And I know it's difficult still. It's going to be difficult for a while.
Yeah, it just kind of happened, and the worst part is you try to do everything, you work out, you eat healthy and stuff like that, and you think it's gonna fix it, and it doesn't, man. And I hear like you just got to grow around it, but I know it's still fresh, and I'm still waiting for it. And life sucks, and to all the listeners, I guess hearing, you just never know what's going on in someone's life, so be kind where you can and look out for each other, and tell your loved ones you love them. So that's it.
As simple as that, man.
Absolutely.
So you can reach out because you're still taking work on if anybody wants to reach out to you, but no bullshit quotes or whatever. Just reach out for legitimate, right? Or no?
I wouldn't even say that, man. Like I still gotta fix my house. I gotta move. And
you got shit to do.
But if you want to pick my brain, if you want to ask questions and shit like that, I'm more than happy. But when it comes to like free quotes and actually doing work, sorry, man, I'm on.
No,
which is right now. Yeah,
which is totally fair, man.
Absolutely.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Manny. We'll see you again sometime.
We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. And all the best with what you're working on, and hopefully, maybe even next year we'll see it. Most likely, we'll see it next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I got, I'm working on it. I'm passionate about it, and I'm excited to bring it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Well, I can't wait.
Reach out anytime and shoot whatever. Text me and just let me know what's going on and where it's at. And if you got any thoughts you want to share and want my opinion, I will always give you my honest opinion about it, right? I won't sugarcoat shit. I'll tell you the truth. If it was crap, I would tell you it was crap. It's not crap. Absolutely. It's actually a really good idea, right? So
thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you, Angelina. We are out of here.